2, 1. Man, happy holidays, everybody. Boys are back. Black Talk, Smack Talk. Adam here. Reunited with my crew, with my people. We got Bruce Jackson in the house. 13-time All-American from the University of Washington.
Boo!
No.
We got
Boo hiss.
We got Sano in the house, aka the millionaire.
Babushka.
And then we got the ultimate UW optimist in the house. Man, we got Charlie Hustle, man.
Arsenio Hall. Homer Simpson.
And did you guys see that picture of Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy from Coming to America? The new one?
Yeah, so wait, hold on. Is that a series or is that a new movie coming out?
New movie is coming out. This 2021. Mm-hmm.
Oh, been in America. They got whole families and everything.
Yeah, they're bringing back a lot of the same cast too. So that should be.
I mean, Eddie Murphy played half the movie. Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall.
Right, but some of the other characters, like the wife, Sherry Headley. I think James Earl Jones is in it too.
Dang.
But
a return to Whack Arnold's.
Because James Earl Jones was old when that movie came out.
Right?
Yep. The King of Zamunda.
Yeah.
Right.
But anyway,
okay.
Nah, man. Well, anyways, man, we're back. NBA season starts next week. Our time, hoop fans, hoop lovers, we love the game. So today we're going to preview the NBA season, give our thoughts, to share our awards, our playoff teams. We got some hot takes for you, maybe a little debate in there, but man, it's just good to be back, man. We missed you guys. We continue to appreciate you guys liking our Instagram posts and follow us on Twitter and Facebook and whatnot. But man, gentlemen, NBA season, it's been a wild offseason to say the least. Every NBA offseason has been wild. We did our preview. I don't think any of our stuff came to fruition, except Serge Ibaka, which I will take credit for. Serge Ibaka did end up
Serge to the Clippers.
Oh, you called that one.
I did. I didn't think they would have enough money, but I did call that one. But there's with the transactions happening with a lot of moves, we just kind of want to talk about, the playoffs. We have a crazy, condensed 72 game schedule starting next week, with everything going on with COVID and with guys not being able to play back-to-backs. There's going to be some interesting seeding within the playoffs, man. So we're just going to kind of get started, give you guys our thoughts. So we're going to start it off. The optimist, Charlie, talk to us, man. We'll go Eastern Conference.
Oh yeah, I mean, like as you talked about with COVID and everything, it's going to be really hard to determine, who's going to be a higher seed than others because there's so much. If some guy gets COVID, he might have to get quarantined for 14 days,
right.
which could change their their whole standings, but they'll still make the playoffs. I think a lot of teams are just going to want to get in. But I would say most of us would agree that the following teams are in the playoffs: Bucks, Sixers, Heat, Brooklyn, Boston, Raptors. Does everyone have those same 6 teams in the playoffs?
Yes, sir.
Bucks, yeah. Sixers, Heat.
Yeah, Bucks, Sixers, Heat, Nets, Celtics, Raptors.
Yep.
All right. Yep.
Yeah. I think that's all pretty much across the board, and then the rest is kind of what's up for debate. I feel like. So I have the Wizards. That's the thing that I think they're going to make it. I know some others don't. And then Wizards. And then I got Hawks, Pacers.
Man. See, this might be too early in the pod for a hot take, but you left out. I mean, you said the Hawks, but on the outside looking in.
Oh, so I got them. Yeah, because so that 9-10 game, right?
So you got them in the play-in.
Oh, actually, no. I got Hawks in the 8, and then 9-10, I got Pacers Magic.
Okay.
See, I mean, I agree with you on everything but the Wizards. I don't think the
Okay.
Wizards are getting in. I think
Okay.
obviously they improve with Westbrook, but I still don't see whose spot they're going to take. I think Atlanta's going to finish top 6 in the East,
Oh, okay. Really?
if not higher. I mean, I think they added Rondo, they added veterans, Gallinari, guys like that, and they're deep. And guys like Trae Young are only getting better. I think there's too much talent for them not to, especially in the East. But the Wizards, I don't see them being better than Indiana or any of those teams at the bottom. Even Orlando, I could see being better than them.
That's interesting. Yeah, I guess we'll touch on that later. So would you have Wizards in the 9 or 10 spot then at least, or
I'd put them in 9 or
like
10.
11?
I'd probably put them 9 or 10, but I wouldn't be shocked if they missed the whole thing altogether either.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So all those teams that's 10 teams I named off right there.
Right.
And we'll see if Adam or Bruce has an additional team that they might have in that, like, Detroit. Adam probably has Detroit in.
Man, honestly, like they're close to making the 10 seed. They're close.
Depends on your guy behind you, Adam.
Honestly, it all depends on Blake Griffin, and we'll get to him later. Bruce, what do you agree with these guys?
Yeah, no, in most part, yeah, I do. Obviously the 6 that Charlie named, we all agree on. I would say I have the Wizards as well with Charlie making it in there, and then the Pacers I have also getting in there. So yeah, Pacers and Wizards would be my other 2 teams with those 6 to make the 8, and then I think Orlando and Atlanta are in that play-in, looking at 9 and 10. So. But we'll get to why later. I'm not pump the brakes on Atlanta real quick for me. So we'll talk about that a little later.
Man, I agree, man. Wizards and Hawks are my 7, 8. I do not have Indiana. They'll be the 10. And I have Charlotte as the 9.
Oh,
Charlotte.
I have Charlotte.
Indy and Charlotte. So Charlotte, Indiana.
Yeah.
Adam's high on Terry Rozier this year.
You guys know I'm not big on Indy. I've said it numerous times in the group chat that Indy just doesn't do it for me. They define mediocrity of the NBA. They're just right there. I thought Nate McMillan, they have a new coach, Yorkman, I think his last name is. I think that's a downgrade, even though I've heard positive things about him. Like he's a grinder, comes from Toronto, worked well under Nick Nurse. I just don't believe that group meshes well together. And with the first-year head coach, I don't know how it all fits. I like what Charlotte's done. I mean, Gordon Hayward, is he worth the money? Maybe not in the back end of it, but man, he took the money because somebody's giving it to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, who wouldn't want to take that money, And
right.
Unfortunately, he just got hurt today. I think they said he's day-to-day, but I'm not sure how long he's going to be out. Yeah, I believe I'm Melo. I think Melo's going to, he's box office, but I think it'll help translate to wins. It's like that jolt of energy that I talked to you guys about that franchise needed. So they got some solid depth. Yeah, so I like the way they're built. I think if healthy, I think they'll make the playing game.
So Adam, do you have the Magic outside of your top 10?
Magic, yeah, no.
Okay, so Magic and you technically had the Pistons out of the top 10 too?
Yeah.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. Well, like I said, a lot of that depends on the legend Blake Griffin. If he comes back healthy, I can see them contending to be in the playing game.
Right. I would almost say, in fairness to Blake Griffin, it does depend on him, but it's going to depend on the rest of those dudes. Can anyone else step up and be a contributor?
Like Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant got that fat contract. And
who's going to be their second leading scorer? Who's their second leading scorer?
Yeah, it has to be Jeremy Grant. I mean, he got the fat contract and one of the bigger role on offense. They're starting Killian Hayes.
Oof.
Yeah, he's had a rough preseason so far.
Yeah, Killian Hayes, Mason Plumlee. I mean, they still got D Rose, who's He's so good, even though despite all the injuries, he's still so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of it just depends on Blake and then how the other guys develop around him.
But I think we all do have that clear cut top. Well, for you guys, it's top 6. For me, I think it's a top 7. But
right.
Yep.
Do we have the East is interesting to me, not to change the subject real quick, but do we all I'm curious to see who we all have at the top of the East. I mean, is Milwaukee the clear number 1 for everybody?
Are you talking about who we have coming out of the East?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm you know me, I'm Brooklyn.
You think Brooklyn?
Yeah.
I mean, the East is interesting that way.
I'm a big believer in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn's got the most talent top to bottom.
2 different things. A number what seed? Are they going to get the top seed, or are they going to make it to the finals?
Well, yeah, I just mean who do we think is the clear cut best? I guess who do you think's coming out of the East? I guess is the.
Yeah, I think Brooklyn would be a safe bet. I do think I think Bruce would probably agree that I'm not counting the Sixers out.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Boston.
I thought you were going to say Boston too.
No, I was going to say, how about the Sixers? Because I think Embiid missed 20-something games last year, and I think Simmons missed 15 games last year. So you guys if they could play with the new coach and some shooters, maybe things could actually, because I think 2 years ago, Embiid averaged 27 a game 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Last year he doesn't even register on the scoring list.
I think those 3 teams are going to battle it out for the number 1 seed in the East all year. It's going to be real close. Philly, Milwaukee, and Brooklyn.
However, there's a caveat. Miami, if they get a certain gentleman from Houston, I think they could easily make the finals.
Oh yeah, I'm not considering trades right now, but yeah, you're right. If they pull it off and bring in a guy like James Harden, then
right. If Bruce's guy Harden goes to the Heat, I think they're going to be in the finals again.
Bruce, what do you think about the Sixers?
No, I'm all in about the Sixers. Obviously Sando had it's kind of two-part question. I think the top seed, it's going to be the Bucks, but I'm going to take the easy route, and I'm undecided on the East champion. I'm kind of torn between the Sixers and the Nets. So I really like the 76ers, and I like what the Nets could be, but right now I'll take the easy road out. I can't really pick which one, but I think Milwaukee will be the top seed going into the playoffs for the East.
So Milwaukee's your top regular season seed, but you're torn between Philly and Brooklyn for the Eastern Conference Championship.
Yes.
What's crazy is none of us. Oh,
my fault. No, I was gonna say last year I think all 4 of us had Philly in the finals.
Really?
Yeah.
I think so.
I think it was all 4 of us had Philly in the finals.
Yeah, it's funny. We all named kind of our 1 seed and who we think would make it out. Oh, Bruce might have had Boston, but it's funny. None of us said the actual East defending champion. We're just totally disregarding them, But
right. So
quote unquote East defending champion last year.
Hey, they still made it.
I guess quote unquote NBA champion, I should say.
They earned it, man. I can't really.
No, they did. They did.
They smacked up the Bucks fair and square.
Yeah, they did.
So.
Moving to the West. So I think there's a general consensus of the Lakers, the Clippers, the Jazz, the Blazers, the Mavs, the Nuggets.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there's similar to Atlanta in the East. Phoenix.
What's that, 6? Yeah, 6.
Is a team that's I think they're in, but I have seen some reports or some predictions where people don't think they're ready yet. But
right.
I
so
think
wait,
I'll
Adam,
put them in. I count them as a lock.
Adam, you said 6, and then kind of went to Phoenix, but you didn't say Houston.
I did not say Houston.
Whoa.
I did not say Houston.
Are you factoring in another trade?
Trade or no trade?
Oh, say trade or no trade.
Trade or no trade.
So if they keep Harden, if they go out with Harden, Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, and then the rest of that roster, that's not a playoff. team in the West, you think?
Christian Wood.
Solid player.
Yeah,
Solid
Christian
player.
Wood.
Tucker Gordon. They're still on the team.
Right,
They still
Tucker.
got- Yeah.
Right, Tucker's on the team. Another unhappy player on the team. Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon is he can be able to play 65 games. You know what I'm saying? There's John Wall coming off 2 Achilles surgeries. Is he can be able to play 60 games? Is
House McLemore.
Is Cousins going to be able to hold up, after knee surgery? Those are all questions. Steven Silas is a first-year head coach. Are they all going to buy in? And Harden's the biggest question mark.
There's going to be some load management with Cousins for sure, I think. Maybe Wall too.
I would assume so, because those are huge. Like the Achilles, that's a huge injury. That's why I think, KD, I don't think the Nets are going to be a top seed. I think they can be as low as 4, but I think they have a chance to be in the finals. They're prepping for the end game, the playoffs. With Houston, I just have a hard time. The tone was set, and we'll get into James Harden later, man, but the tone was set, and it's just such a negative thing right now. But, obviously, and I like James Harden. And I like some of the players on Houston, but as a collective, I'm just not feeling it.
Okay, so then.
Okay, go ahead, Chuck.
I was going to say, so we had the same 6. So then who's your 7, 8 if you don't have Houston there? You have Phoenix
and the Warriors.
Phoenix and the Warriors, okay.
But that's not. But the order I named the teams isn't the order I think that's gonna.
Yeah.
Those are just the teams that you think will make it.
Yeah, like I as much as Chuck bags on the Warriors, like I think Steph will be, if he's healthy, I think he'll have MVP type numbers, and he'll lead them to the playoffs, whatever seed that is.
Mm-hmm.
So no Houston, no Pelicans.
The Pelicans were my play-in. The Pelicans and the Rockets were my plan.
Okay.
So I didn't completely throw Houston out, because they do have talent, but I'm big on chemistry and how it all meshes, and yeah.
See, that's the thing for me is I got the Warriors outside the 8, but I feel like Steph Curry in a 1-game playoff is pretty fucking dangerous. Like same with James Harden, right? If Harden was in your 9 or 10, I'd probably take him versus whoever's in 7 or 8. But
he had that. Yeah. Man, that 29 he had. I mean, Bruce watched the game also, and he wasn't impressed, but it just seemed like I didn't even realize he had 29. You know what I mean? Yeah. And in 28 minutes, I think,
right.
Man.
I think it's going to be a rough year for Steph. Well, I mean, for Steph himself, he's going to be obviously the leading scorer on the team, and he probably averaged close to, that 28, 29 a game, but defenses are just going to focus completely on him.
Make other teams beat them.
Yeah, and guys like Oubre and Wiggins, they're going to have to step up. But even if they do, like we've talked over and over about how thin their bench is, even compared to teams like Boston, who we talked about also having a thin bench.
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, even an MVP type of season from Steph, I don't think is going to put him into the top 5-6 teams out in the West.
Well, you have Golden State in your 8.
I have him in my 8. I have him. I think if I was going to put it, I think I put him at 7, 8.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah. And then Bruce, where do you have Golden State?
No, I mean, yeah, the 6 we have those. I have the Suns and Rockets as the other 2 teams making it in the top 8, and then the Pelicans and Warriors battling it out in those play-ins. Yeah, pretty much everyone, what you guys have said already alluded to.
See, I didn't have who did I have in the play-in? I had the Pelicans and I had the Grizzlies.
Yeah, I was gonna mention the Grizzlies. Like, are we not feeling the Grizzlies this year, or do you think the other teams just got better and they just want to grow from within and just they're invested in the long game, in the long term, long-term development?
I would say 3 things. Phoenix got Chris Paul, the Warriors got healthy. I mean, they get Steph Curry back, and I just think that if the Pels are healthy, the Pelicans, all 3 of those leapfrog the Grizzlies for me.
Yeah, but so you don't think the Grizzlies are going to make the play-in game?
I have them. Yeah, I have Phoenix in my top 8, and then I have Pels and Warriors in 9, 10.
Yeah.
So,
Man, I like the Grizzlies have a nice young nucleus. Ja, Triple J,
Our guy Jonte.
yeah, shout out to Jonte Porter. We got Justice Winslow, Brandon Clark. So, man, they got a nice young core. Tyus Jones, Slow-Mo. But, yeah, I just think they'll be good maybe next year or, within a few years. I thought, actually, the playing game was the best chance this past year in the bubble. I thought that was their best chance to make the playoffs. But
obviously the travel wasn't there in the bubble, but things aren't really going to be much different as far as home court this year too. I mean, the travel is a factor again because teams are going to different arenas, but that home court advantage is still not going to be there for a team. So
right.
unless,
True.
I think some arenas might be allowing fans, but still not enough to,
I want to ask you guys. I'll ask you guys real quick. Do you have any, I guess, surprise teams getting home court advantage in the playoffs? Like, do you see Portland jumping into that top four?
Dallas.
Do you see Dallas jumping into that top four?
Dallas.
Okay.
Dallas would be. I think they're through. They have a chance to be 2 through 4.
What about you, Bruce?
Portland. Yeah, I don't know. Right now, I see them be 2 through 4. Portland. One of those.
I agree with that, assuming they stay healthy, right? But yeah.
Do we think the Lakers will be the 1 seed?
Easy.
I could see them not because of load management.
Yeah.
I think it'll be easy than 1 seed. And I think the only team that could get them in the regular season is Denver. And the only reason I say that is because the Clippers are probably going to load manage. But even when the Lakers load manage, I think they're too deep. Like, they're still going to win some of those games.
See, I'm lower on Denver this season, than I was last year. I think I had them as the 1 seed. I had them going into the playoffs as the 1 seed. But I'm lower on Denver this year. I think they might take a step back.
But yeah, I'm with you, Bruce, on Portland.
No, I have Denver as the 1. I'm pretty definitive. I think they'll definitely be the 1 seed. I'm up on Denver. I actually had Denver beating the Clippers in that same round last year. So no, I think Denver.
You called that before the series?
Charlie got the tech.
Man, that's a good call. That's a great call.
Before the playoffs started.
He said, bro, you got to put your money on that, bro. Do it.
Yeah. So, no, I believe in Denver. I think they're better. I'm all about chemistry and continuity. They have that. I think they'll be the top seed. And I think they'll be top seed mainly also because of those other teams with load management and how the short off season. I think that's a big factor. But I'm about them being the top seed. Doesn't mean I think they're going to win.
I was going to say, who would you take them in the series versus the Lakers?
So, what's that?
I said right now, would you take Denver in a series versus the Lakers?
No, I went in a series versus Lakers right now before the season, probably not. But as we get to the end and I get to see them play, we can visit that question again. But right now, no, I wouldn't.
Would you have them beating the Blazers in a series?
Oh, that's a fascinating matchup. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it kind of depends on how it shakes out. I think we all probably have an idea what my top 4 teams are, and most of ours in the West. And so I don't know, but I think regular season performance, Denver is going to get the 1 seed.
That makes sense. They're young, they're focused. They feel like, they got to prove themselves still, So yeah, I can see that.
Before we move on, so we had our playoff teams. Do we want to announce our winners, like champions, or we're just gonna wait till have them check on Instagram?
Could throw it out there.
Yeah, we'll throw it out there.
Why don't we throw out our who we think is going to the finals from each conference, and we can put our winners on Instagram.
All right, go ahead.
Do that?
Yeah, go ahead, Bruce.
My West representative is the Clippers.
Woo!
Yeah, I think the Clips. I won't get into it. Just keep it short and simple. Clippers.
What's in your bottle over there?
Nothing. This is my bottle. Clippers this year. I didn't believe him
Yep.
last year. I believe him now this year. There's a reason for that. Trials and tribulations is big in the NBA, and they weren't ready. They didn't have the chemistry. They will. They've now will be forced to. And I like Ty Lue, and I actually think they will be surprised. I think there won't be as much load management this season as years past. And then I'll go with the Sixers, 76ers. I'll go with Philly. The deep man, just the defense. They love the shooters around, and I like what potentially they probably have. They can have the best defense in the league. So
yeah, shout out to Matisse, man. Shout out to Matisse. He'll play a big role in that. Santa, who do you got?
I got the Lakers coming out of the West,
Of course
which
you do.
pains me to say.
You're a fan.
No, that's the guy in the green down here. I don't know why you're wearing Sonic colors. You should have on that green and gold. Yeah, I got the Lakers. I mean, I want to be high on the Clippers, and I think the change in coaching and the change in atmosphere or culture down there could do them a lot of good because they have the matchup to be able to do it, to beat the Lakers. I just don't think. I mean, I just don't right now. I just don't think they have the depth. And then Denver, kind of like Bruce said, I think they're going to be a challenge too. But I just see the Lakers coming out of the West. In the East, I think is going to be probably just as exciting. But I'm going to go with Brooklyn. KD, so far from what we've seen, looks like he's the KD of old. And you put him on any team, even if you load manage his games here and there, they're deep as well from top to bottom. You know, they got guys like Dinwiddie coming off the bench. If KD's not in the game, they have Kyrie. They have all these guys that can do different things. DeAndre Jordan, Jared Allen protecting the rim. Guys like Prince, KD on the wing. You know, Adam, your guy Joe Harris out there shooting threes.
Man, baby.
They got too much talent, and the only reason that wouldn't get them to the finals, I think, is if there are some chemistry issues. Which with those guys, you never know. There could be, but
or defense.
Yeah. But they're going to be fun to watch, and I think I got them coming out. Obviously, I like Philly too, and I want Giannis to get his ring, but I don't think it's going to be this year.
Fair. I want to say for Brooklyn, it was Bruce that pointed out that Brooklyn has reunited the two Seattle heroes, Jeff Green and Kevin Durant. I didn't want that to go unnoticed. That was Bruce's find.
Yeah.
And so when they made the finals, Jeff Green was still on the Thunder, wasn't he? Or was he gone by then?
No, I think he was gone, wasn't he?
Thought he was gone.
No, he didn't play in the finals.
Yeah, I thought
he was gone already.
Because it was only like 3 or 4 years after they left.
No, I think he was on Boston because they had Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah. Oh, he went to. I mean, he played for 13 teams or something. So they traded him and like Nenad Kristic or something for Perkins.
Yeah.
Something like that. I think so.
That's a random ass trade. Nenad Kristic.
Well, that was at that time, right? When you because of the Lakers, you had to have a big man to compete, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And because they had two big men. But yeah, you know, I got Lakers and I got the Wizards, bro. No, I'm fucking with you. But yeah, if he was still playing, I got Wizards, baby.
Which one, Jordan?
This one.
No.
Gil.
Apache.
Because Gil's the Laker killer. He has the most points ever scored in Staples Center by a visitor on Kobe's head. R.I.P. Kobe. But I was really close to going Sixers, but I'm gonna go Brooklyn. Brooklyn Lakers.
Man,
New York to L.A.
I'm in the East. I already said it. I have Brooklyn coming out. Although I could see Miami giving if they make a move. I'm not a believer in them if they don't make a move.
Do you think that move has to be Harden?
Oh, 100%. 100%. And in the West, man, you guys know, man, it's the Clippers. I just Man, there's not much that I really can say, man. I just feel like my guy, PG, bounce back season, and he'll be better. And the chemistry will be better. Coaching will be better. Just overall, they'll be better. I feel like Bruce alluded to earlier, it's when, you go through, you weather the storms, go through the trials and tribulations, and you come back a better person, better players, better team. So I feel good. I feel good about it. I don't know how they're going to do in the regular season, but come playoff time, and plus, man, they always got something in their back pocket for the trade deadline, so I can see them making a move. But with Kawhi and PG, man, I feel good. I mean, national media and stuff don't really fuck with them anymore, but it's all good.
Yeah. I mean, Adam, there's two. So I think Clippers do have a chance. That there's two things that kind of worry me about them. And one of them is, it's kind of the same as last year, right? Is the point guard position, like somebody to kind of just get the offense going,
right?
Set them up, bring the ball up, whatever, be the ball handler, be the distributor. And then there's like the rim protection, because they're going to be competing with, AD in LA, Jokic, out in Denver, even Nurkic up in Portland. Like there's a lot of bigs.
I mean, they got Zubac and Ibaka, and Zubac.
Ibaka is a big pickup.
Statistically, Zubac was top 5 in rim protection last year, and he
only played 20, 25 minutes a game last year for some reason.
So I'll defend, this is my issue, and I think what Adam's talking about, alluding to better coaching, because I'm a Boston fan. I love Doc Rivers, brought a championship to Boston, but some of the rotations and minutes for players last season was questionable. I think there was pieces there. So like you were talking about point guard play, I actually think Reggie Jackson is a good fit for them and could do more for them, but didn't have the opportunity to do so because he wasn't getting the minutes necessary. And I do like Big Zoo and Serge Ibaka for protecting the rim. I think Big Zoo is a lot better than people give him credit to, but again, rotations. And so I don't know. I think Ty Lue will have a better grasp of who's to be in and what time than last season.
Yeah, the coaching could the change in coaching staff could completely change everything for them, and they could start playing guys, because when they signed Jackson last year, I was like, oh, that's a big pickup, right? Like that's going to help him a lot, and then he ended up not really playing that much. Yeah, we didn't really factor in too much,
and he struggled with some of the minutes too. But no, I mean those are some decent points, Sano. But I mean, despite everything, last year they were the top 5. They were the only team in the league that had a top 5 defense and a top 5 offense.
Right.
So, despite all the shortcomings and chemistry issues, they were right there.
Right.
So, yeah, I feel good about them. I feel like my guy's gonna bounce back. I mean, just gotta stay off social media, just be in a good headspace, and he'll be good. All right, man. So transition. Obviously with our previews, we got predictions for awards. So we can go through these real quick. Nothing to really dive into, because we have some good material that we want to get to next. So we'll start off everybody's rookie of the year, which we just posted on Instagram. So we had Melo, we had Obi Toppin, and we had Wiseman. And then today we posted our most improved players, and it was Shea. I had Shea. Sano had Jamal Murray. Chuck and our producer Pat, they said MPJ. And Bruce had DeAndre Ayton, which is nice pickup.
With a shout out to, I know Sano said he had more to add on one of these picks, but we talked about him earlier in the pod, or earlier in the chat. I want to throw Kobe White's name in the hat too.
Yep, I was going to say the same.
Kobe White, yeah, he looked good yesterday. Him and Zach looked good yesterday. Defensive player of the year. I don't remember all these off the top of my head. I had Bam. I think Charlie had AD.
Safe pick.
Sano had.
I had Bam also.
Sano had Bam, and then Bruce had Ben Simmons.
Yeah, that's a good pick too.
Which I was thinking,
he's one of the favorites.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, I didn't even that didn't even come across my mind. That's a good pick.
And Bruce would like this. I was actually thinking Marcus Smart.
Mm.
But
Mhm.
man, guards get hated on, man, because for these awards. Sixth man of the year.
I'm surprised nobody picked Draymond.
Charlie had Schroeder. Sano, you had
Your guy Jordan Clarkson.
legend. Shout out to JC. I had Jordan Clarkson also. Bruce, who did you have?
I had the shrewd criminal as well.
Schroeder. And then producer Pat had Trez. He thinks Trez is going to be coming off the bench.
Is there any chance Schroeder starts for the Lakers?
Shit, he was in the starting lineup yesterday, so I think there's a high probability he could.
Yep.
My other shout out was Dimwitty. That's my other shout out for six man.
That's a good. Oh, I would. Shit, he's actually might be the starter. I think Karen Levert, Bruce's guy Levert, is
He's coming off the bench.
Steve Nash said that. He said he can, he can be Manu-like.
Well, I guess either one of those. I would actually take either one of those guys. Which one of those guys is coming off the bench.
That's a good call. And then finally the MVP. I'll let you guys say your MVPs.
Do we all have different ones?
I think we did.
I think so.
Yeah.
No. Well, Sano, I think you and producer Pat had the same, but
okay.
But Bruce and Charlie and me had different ones. So Charlie,
go ahead.
I mean, the safe pick is Luka, but I'm going with Kevin Durant.
Come back player of the year and the MVP.
That's exactly it. A lot of it is narrative, right? It's like, the whole story. And it's like this guy missed the whole season. He comes back. And I think even in his sleep, he's still going to average over 25. They get a 1 or 2 seed. And because his game isn't like super predicated on athleticism, right? He can shoot all day. So that's just kind of where I'm going. He averages between 25 and 28. Right. They have to get the 1 or the 2 seed. And I think the story will be like, man, Durant came back like he never left. Bam,
Bruce, who did you have?
I have Damian Lillard. I think, he's at the apex of his powers. He's got all the stats. The team.
Pat had Dame too. Okay, never mind.
The team record is going to be vastly improved because everyone's healthy. Portland finally addressed their wing deficiency with Derek Jones and Rocco, So I think Dame.
Shout out to CJ Ellaby too, man.
Yep.
Yes. CJ Ellaby, man. Congrats. Yep. Hopefully he'll get some burn this year. But we're fans.
Definitely, and I think Dame's usage rate will go down, and which he'll gladly take, and I think people will be amazed by his efficiency and stuff. And so it's time. You got to be there for a while, and he's been there for a while, and now ever since the bubble, everyone's like, whoa, like this guy's another dude, like another level. So I think it's Dame's time.
All right.
Dame's been knocking on the door. I like it. He's been knocking on the door.
Sano, who do you got?
I've been going back and forth. I think I said yesterday when we were talking about it, I think I said Lillard. For all the reasons Bruce said, but I'm going to switch it up for the pod, and I'm going to say Jokic for MVP. Nikola Jokic for MVP. I think Denver. The more we talked about it, the more I thought about it. Like overnight, I was like, Denver's going to finish top 3 in the West. And obviously their leader, you can say what you want about Jamal Murray. He was amazing too, but I think it's Jokic's time. Those numbers are going to be there. They're across the board pretty much on offense. He's going to lead them to a, top seed in the West. If everything comes to fruition, like Bruce said, they get the number 1 seed in the standings. He's going to be tough to beat out if he has a normal Jokic type of season.
Right. All right. So my, this kind of goes into what we're going to do next with hot takes. My MVP is Jason Tatum.
I like it.
I think Jason Tatum has the ability to lead the league in scoring. And if he leads Boston to a top 3 seed, I think he'll be MVP.
I like it.
I say that because one, Danny Ainge did real shitty giving them the bench. Two, Kemba's out for a month. Kemba's out for like mid-January, and he has, knee issues, which dating back to Charlotte. So I think the ball's going to be in Tatum's hands a lot. And, if it's like we talk about bubble performances, he was incredible. He almost single-handedly led Boston to the finals. So I'm a believer. I think he's that good to where he can carry Boston to top 3 in the East and, average close to 30 and be MVP. So that is that's a perfect segue into what we're doing now is we each of us, shout out to, all of us actually, or shout out, Charlie had a nice idea about hot takes. So as you guys heard, I just said Jason Tatum will be the MVP of the NBA. And then we're just, we each of us have a couple hot takes. My other hot take is, as you can see in the back, number 2-3, Blake Griffin, he's going to be an all-star and all-NBA.
Ooh.
Those are my 2 hot takes. I had another one in my back pocket, but I'll just save it. I'll save it for another time. So
let me ask, what do you think the Pistons would have to finish for him to be able to get all NBA? Because if they finish like 10 or 11, he probably wouldn't get like the Bradley Beal situation. The dude averaged 30, and I don't think he got anything, right?
Yeah, well, he was third-team All-NBA in 2019, and they were the A seed. So, but I mean, if healthy, he's 22, 23, 8-4, 8-5. So, yeah, I can see it. I can see it, and I believe it, man. I believe in my guy. So, yeah, Bruce, man, what hot takes you got, man? What hot takes what's your hot take?
My hot take is Kyrie Irving will lead the Eastern Conference in assists.
Woo! Okay.
I think there's a couple things. I think the new Kyrie, with trying to cut out distractions and outside noise, refocus, regeared. Obviously we know his dribbling, his playmaking ability. Now he's surrounded by Sniper and Joe Harris, bucket getters and KD, Karis LeVert, rim runners, lob threats, and Jared Allen and DJ. I think this guy's gonna just try to change the narrative and just feed. And I think also some of that's gonna kind of surprisingly, like Spencer Dinwiddie actually was like in the top 15 in assists last year in the whole NBA. He averaged 6.8. Kyrie's previous high ever in a season, 6.9. I think some of that assist load will drop off Dinwiddie, the healthy Kyrie all year, boosting him up. And just with all the talent around and the depth and the guys that he can shoot, score, just get buckets in there, I think Kyrie is going to be a facilitator. And who else to learn better to be a distributing point guard than from Steve Nash?
Right.
So I think he's going to take his wing under his wing and show Kyrie like this is you can do this. So I think everything's around him to be successful and really do that and lead the league.
Bruce, you also forgot to mention that for the first time in his career, he finally has somebody that's able to take a last second shot outside of himself.
Man, it's got to be nice to have a clutch player on your team finally.
No comment on that, but
right. I'm not even. I was just poking fun. I don't necessarily agree with him, but hey.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, I definitely think he can do that and lead that Eastern Conference. I think everything's around him, and he's got a great coach to kind of help enforce that and show him the way.
Right.
Are they going to run like 6 seconds or less, or 8 seconds or less, or anything like that?
No, I don't know about that. I know the ball's been moving a lot in that one preseason game. The ball was moving real well. It wasn't fast paced like that though, in 7 seconds or less. So yeah, the ball will move. I just don't know if I'm more worried about them on the defensive end. They're going to lead the NBA in scoring. They're going to be a top, like Chuck, we talked about the other day. Listen to that pod. They're going to be a top 3 or 4 offense. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But
on defense, like I'm with you, Adam. Like the defense, if something's going to go wrong, like on the court, it's probably going to be their defense. But then I keep thinking about their roster, and I'm like, but they're so long.
Right.
They got guys like Jordan and Allen guarding the rim. They got KD, Prince. Even Dinwiddie's a solid defender. And then there's obviously the guys we talked about that aren't known for defense, but with guys that long surrounding you, I mean, like
even a guy like Bruce Brown, defensive stopper.
Yeah. So
yeah, no, they're good, man. Santa, what hot takes you got?
All right. So my first hot take is
Warriors are in the finals.
Warriors go 72-0. No. First hot take is Trae Young is going to lead the league in scoring and assists.
Oh, damn.
Both. I think he's going to lead the league in both. Well, I don't think so. That's my hot take. But
damn.
And the reason why is a lot of what Bruce just said about Kyrie also applies to Trae Young. And the thing with Trae Young, not only does he have a lot of talent around him that will fetch him a lot of assists, he still has the green light as the main scorer in Atlanta. He's still the guy, right? Yeah. There's going to be nights like with a guy like Kyrie we're comparing to. Like Kyrie obviously could lead the league in scoring, but he's got KD where if, there's going to be nights where it's like, okay, KD, it's your night to score 30, 40 points. Wow. In Atlanta, it's more on Trae Young to be the scorer and the distributor night in, night out. And they're not going to be load managing. So there's not going to be a lot of nights off for him. I mean, God forbid there's an injury or something. And they're going to be constantly fighting all year for that playoff seeding. They're not going to be a lock, I don't think, for pretty much anything. So they're going to be in and fighting for a lot of games. They're not going to take a lot of games off. So that's kind of my reasoning behind that. Plus, he's got one of my all-time favorite players, Clint Capella, down there to throw lobs to. And then like all those guys we mentioned earlier when we were talking about the East, like, Gallinari maybe coming off the bench. Kevin Herter's a shooter. Guys,
Cam Reddish.
Cam Reddish
from Duke.
Slasher. So they got guys down there. DeAndre Hunter, another defensive guy, but he can also put up some points every once in a while. So, so I like that team down there. Collins coming back healthy.
Man, he's a stud. I'm a fan.
So Trae Young leading the league in scoring and assists.
Wow, that's hot.
Hot. And my next one is Miami is going to trade for a superstar, but it's not going to be James Harden.
Oh, look at this guy.
It's also, you might think, he's going to get traded. It's not going to be Bradley Beal. It's going to be Adam's guy, Blake Griffin.
Oh, shit.
Going to Miami.
All right.
He's going to try to help them get back to the finals and defend that Eastern Conference. I think Blake deserves better than Detroit right now because Detroit's rebuilding.
Championship favorites if he's on the team.
He needs out of Detroit. Detroit's they're in a different level than Blake right now. They're starting over, building from scratch. Blake is at that point in his career. He's early 30s. He needs to go to a contender. Right. He needs to show what he can do in the playoffs. Miami will trade for Blake Griffin at some point this season, and they will use that to make a run in the playoffs.
Ooh.
Not two hot takes.
Those are pretty hot.
All right, now we got the worst for last.
I do want to say, Bruce, I thought that Kyrie hot take is pretty cool, man. That's a pretty dope one, And the Trae Young, I mean, I'm a big Trae Young fan. I think Trae Young could lead in assists, but I think he has so many other guys that his scoring he averaged almost like 29.5 last year.
Yeah.
Right.
I think Trae's scoring will go down because they have so much of a squad, but that's a good pick too. My first one is because this guy's made a lot of teammates, is the leading scorer in the NBA. Bradley Beal leads the NBA in scoring. Russ I think when Russ was with PG got second in the league in scoring only because Harden averaged like 34. PG was number 2. And then KD was leading scorer probably 4 times with Russell as his teammate. And now I think, it's not too hot because Bradley Beal was second in the NBA in scoring last year. Mm-hmm. But that they make the playoffs and that Russ leads Beal to be the leading scorer in the NBA. And because Beal's been in the league, I don't know how many years now, steadily getting better every single year, you know. And now he's got.
So if Beal leads the league in scoring, you're going to give all the credit to Russ?
I'm gonna give it to Beal, but I think Russ. This would be the third time in Russ's career he's, you know, because he's been looked at as a gunner and doesn't share the ball, but
Right.
he stays getting assists. He's a willing passer, but just some of his shot selection when he does shoot is just really ugly. So he has that bad rap. And my other one, I guess you could almost say it's kind of ties into Russ indirectly. I think Luka Doncic becomes the third player ever to average a triple double. Yeah,
I like it.
I see.
Oscar, Russ, and Luka. You know.
So then, would your MVP change then?
I was going to say he's got to be MVP if he gets that.
I don't know if Dallas finishes in the top 4 per se, right? So I just think KD's, because right now Luka's kind of like the favorite to do it, where KD would kind of come and sneak and take it. That's kind of I would still rock with Kevin Durant just because I feel like his story of not playing for a whole year could be, because we also kind of have been dumbed down from Russell averaging triple double for 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And I think he only got one MVP out of those 3 years, right?
Yeah.
And where did they finish in the standings when he won that MVP?
I think
Sixth.
5 or 6.
Yeah, right. So it wasn't that low, or it wasn't that high. I mean,
yeah,
they were 6. Yeah,
and that's kind of why I'm still sticking with KD, because I think they can finish either 1 or 2, and that's why I'll still rock with KD. But yeah, those are my hot tizakes.
Those are good ones. Actually, Bruce, man, to piggyback what you said also about Kyrie, man, that was my other hot take, because I thought you were gonna have a Boston hot take, and I didn't want us to have two of the same. So Kyrie was actually gonna be my MVP.
Oh,
that was gonna be my but I don't think he's gonna play enough games to qualify. Just because of the management of they want him and KD to be ready for the playoffs. So that was my other one.
Well, the same kind of similar to Westbrook getting Beal the leading scorer. I actually also wouldn't be surprised somehow if Chris Paul helps Booker become the NBA's leading scorer too.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. I like that one.
And also the leading scorer that we've known for the last 4 years has been Harden. And with the new offense, where it's not the D'Antoni cater to the Harden, whatever he wants to do offense, his scoring might go down. He'll still be a killer, I think, but his scoring might not be as astronomical as it's been under D'Antoni.
Right.
Which opens it up for like a number of guys: Trae Young, Booker, Beal, Tatum, a lot of guys.
Yeah. If I mean, this might be like a a medium lukewarm hot take or a lukewarm take. If Phoenix finishes like top 5 or top 4 in the West, which is a long shot because the West is pretty deep, but Phoenix is a roster they could do it. Booker, I think, has a solid chance at MVP. If they finish it's got to be, they got to finish pretty high in the standings for that to happen. But I mean, coming from the jump that they'd be making,
that's great. This is crazy. This goes to show the NBA is in a good fucking place, man.
Yeah.
Right.
We've named like 7 guys that man, that guy could get MVP this year.
It's crazy. There's a lot of MVP candidates.
We didn't even say Giannis.
Right. We didn't say the 2-time reigning MVP.
Or LeBron.
Right. Or I mean, LeBron's got 2nd or 3rd like 13 years in a row, right?
Right.
That's crazy.
There's a lot of guys out there, and there's a lot of guys like Charlie, like Luka. Like obviously he's the favorite. I think he's the Vegas betting favorite.
He is.
But there's guys like that. Like where if you had asked us like 2 years ago, we would have been like, oh, probably within 4 or 5 years. There's a lot of guys that have arrived a lot earlier than we thought they would.
Right.
At least me, personally. Like there's guys like Trae Young, who I was like, oh, okay, like he'll be good in like 3 years, 4 years. He led, I was 29 a game last year.
Their development's accelerated. So they've done a good job putting in the work. And yeah, it's just, it's obviously showing on the court. That's
right.
So as you guys know, the 4 of us, real tight, real close friends, been friends for a long time. But obviously for all friends, get into debates. More so Bruce and Charlie, as we alluded to in the Jeremy Mills podcast. Shout out to Jeremy Mills for having us on. But yeah, what we want to do is give you guys a glimpse of what we debate in our group chats and how, we want to bring it to fruition, bring it to life, and let you guys see. It'll be a little more PG, a little more, it won't be not as much cussing, not as much getting mad, but it'll be Well, we're not gonna have Charlie and Bruce argue. But we'll save that for another time, another special time, because that could be a whole podcast in itself. So we'll start off, man, with Charlie. You want to go ahead?
This is a debate that just happened when the John Wall trade happened, and it was just simple. I was like, oh shit, yeah, they're in the playoffs for sure. And Santa was like, nah, I don't think so. And I'm like, oh yeah, they're in. And we just was kind of like, man, I was really high on they will be in, like actual, not they're going to win the play-in game to get in. They're going to be a top 8 seed, which they were, I guess they were the 9 seed, but they were like 9 games away from the 8 seed last year. Something bad. They just got invited out of pity because they were like
something bad.
They were like 28 and 40 or something. You know, they were bad. But anyways, yeah, obviously I think Westbrook, yeah, I mean, he's not looked upon as a winning player, but I think he's a really good winner, just maybe hasn't won a championship, right? He wins a lot, but just, you know, he hasn't won the actual big ring. But I think he's going to be helpful enough to take them to the playoffs. And I mean, with guys like some analysts, I think Zach Lowe said the rookie that Santa loves, Denny. I don't even know how to say his last name.
You're not going to need to know in a couple of years. You won't even remember him.
That he's one of the most NBA ready rookies in this draft. I've heard that.
He played in the Euro League last year, right? So he's got some experience against pros.
Maccabi Tel Aviv.
Yeah, there you go. They said he's ready, he's smart, well-rounded player. You know, Thomas Bryant, man, he's a monster. Right?
My guy, Thomas Bryant.
Charlie
Bryant, had never even heard his name before we were.
Well, I knew who he was. I knew he was in fantasy, but I didn't know he was
I'm
like
just
the guy.
joking.
Yeah. Bertans, obviously, Dead-eye shooter. He got paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
But you know, the rest, because you can see the rest of that roster doesn't get paid a lot of money. There's definitely some debate about some of these guys are bums, you know?
Man, I was gonna to counter your argument about the Wizards making the playoffs. We named off Russ, Beal, Thomas Bryant. They got Rui. Rui's a solid player, Gonzaga.
Bertans.
Bertans. And then, I don't know, you start Lopez, I guess. Or are you coming off the bench as your big man?
Rolo.
I want to read some guys off. I'm going to read some names to you guys, and you tell me if you've heard of them before, okay? Let's just do an exercise. Yoeli Childs.
For sure.
You guys heard of that name?
Never.
Caleb Holmesley. Garrison Matthews.
Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah.
Okay, Adam, you got one. Anestius Penishchix. Marlon Taylor.
Perhaps.
These are the training camp invites.
These are the guys that are on their roster right now. Anthony Gill is another one. I've heard that name. I wouldn't have guessed where he's played.
That's Johnny Gill's son.
I thought you were gonna say Kendall's son.
Oh, that's not Johnny Gill's son. Stop.
I mean, but I guess you can count on guys like Isaac Bonga off your bench as well. Neto, okay. Neto, solid NBA veteran. And they got Cassius Winston, rookie, if he makes the team.
Brown.
And then Wagner, Troy Brown, and Ish Smith. So they got some veterans. But that bench, I mean, we talked a lot about the Boston bench. We talked a lot about the Warriors bench. I think I take that back about the Warriors having the worst bench in the league, because I'm just looking through this and I'm like, this is – I mean, you could pull up a G League team and put them on their bench, and it might be better. And these guys might prove me wrong. I don't know. We don't know anything about these guys. That's the thing. But that's my reasoning for not having the Wizards in the playoffs. Plus, you're counting on guys like Rui, second year, who's a good player, but it's also his second year.
Right.
The only real guys you can count on are Russ and Beal. If one of those guys gets hurt, it's a wrap.
I think you can. Well, yeah, if you get hurt, but we have that's a caveat we have, right?
Right, for the bet, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you can count on Bertans to make you 200 to 253s. You know,
somebody's got to set him up though. Bertrand is not going to create his own shot. He's got to have somebody. He's got to have somebody pull the defense, right? So
that's what Russ does. That's what Russ does. So, and that's why they paid him. You know, that spot up shooter, kind of like, you know, Joe Harris, right? Like Joe Harris is going to make 253s. He's just going to be open because they have actually more talent there in Brooklyn. But that's why I don't think Washington's going to be the 1 or 2 seed. But I think they're going to be, 6, 7, 8.
I mean, I'm not saying, and you guys jump in, Bruce and Adam, you guys jump in if you want, but I'm not saying anything. It's not anything bad about Russ. It's not anything bad about Beal. It's just that team. I don't see them being better than teams like Indiana or those teams that we named at the bottom of the Eastern Conference that are going to be fighting for those seeds. Even Orlando, I could see being a little better than them.
Right.
So I think there's just seeds that are or spots that are kind of taken that I can't really bump teams for a team like Washington.
And as we know, this is a star-driven league, and stars run this shit. And they got 2 of them, which is 2 more than Orlando got. That's 2 more than Indiana got. And I think that's what will get them in, just on that alone.
I mean, Indiana. I mean, not to jump to another team, but Indiana, you're counting on Oladipo to come back healthy. But if he does, they got Sabonis, Brogdon, Miles Turner. If he ever, goes to that next level. I know Adam's not high on him, but they got some talent there if they can all put it together.
For sure. I mean, every team they play, they'll probably have sides like Brooklyn and maybe a couple teams. They're going to have probably the first and second best player in the game, and the next team will probably have the next 6 best players in the game.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, okay. But that's where we agree to disagree.
Hey, I'll even throw in if you win that bet, I'll even throw in a Caleb Holmesby jersey, Washington Wizards jersey for you.
Oh, I want his Liberty jersey. Isn't that where he went? Or did he go to Liberty?
Did he go to Liberty?
He went to one of those.
Let's look it up.
Caleb, he went to Liberty. Shout out to that's
Caleb
where
Holmesby.
Seth Curry went, right?
Yep.
Seth Curry
before
went
he went to Duke.
So he realized he needed to go to a real college, a real powerhouse. All right.
Well, that's ours.
All right, Bruce, man, you've had some strong feelings about something that we've talked about a lot in the group chat. So, man, the floor is yours.
Yeah, it's Atlanta. I'm not sipping the Kool-Aid. I need everyone to pump the brakes a little bit on Atlanta.
Those are his exact words, everybody, man. He said that in our group chat. Pump the brake. Right. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid.
I'm not.
I want to hear the reasoning why here.
The reasoning for Atlanta, I think I dived a little deeper. So I think there's there's a statistical and historical content in addition to my own subjectiveness of why I don't believe in Atlanta. So I'm gonna break this down, give you some numbers here. So, okay, let's remember Atlanta was the 14th best team in the East last year. Okay, 14th. One from the worst team, the Eastern Conference. They were 20-47. And I like to use last year is a good reflection of this year because last year, most teams played 72 to 73 games last year, and we're on a shortened 72 season this season, okay? Atlanta added, we got Gallinari, we got Rondo, we've added, and then Bogdanovic. Okay? Bogdanovic. So we got the 3. Gotcha.
Healthy Capella.
Capella was on that team. He got hurt. Gotcha. But let me just say, boom. Okay. 20-47. Okay. 7. Okay. Going back to what we talked to earlier about what teams we think are going to go to the playoffs. Okay. We had our consensus, right? And this is all of you. We've had our consensus 6 teams, but I'm going to go 7 of the teams that you and I, most of us named that made the playoffs last year had 43 wins or more. That's 23 plus wins or more than Atlanta did 1 year ago or a couple months ago, okay? Now I'm going to name those teams. Bucks, 76ers, Celtics, Nets. Bucks, 76ers, Celtics, Heat, Raptors, and Pacers all had 43 wins or more. That's 23. That's over double Atlanta's wins. The only team that didn't have 43 wins or more is the Nets. So are you going to sit here and tell me Atlanta's better than the Nets this season? No, not one of you are going to say that. That's 7 teams right there, statistics. So you're basically saying Atlanta is going to have one of the largest 1-year turnarounds in NBA history. I went and looked at the top 10 turnarounds in NBA history, okay? 23 wins. Most of the top 10 are like 18 and 19 wins over. And you know why those turnarounds happen? Lou Alcindor ain't walking through that door. Larry Bird ain't walking through that door. Tim Duncan ain't walking through that door. Carmelo Anthony, rookie, ain't walking through that door. Bogdanovich, Rondo, and Gallinari aren't the level of those players, and then some of the massive trades that those 10 teams had, okay? So basically it comes down to one playoff spot from those other 7, right? And to me, that's between the Wizards, Orlando, and Atlanta, okay? Last year, Orlando had 33 wins. That's 13 more. So you have to get more than a 50% increase from that new Atlanta roster to get that last spot. Wizards had 25 wins, which is 5 more than Atlanta. But hey, we can say those 3 teams can fight for it for that one playoff spot. And if I have to pick between those 3 teams for that one playoff spot without a massive turnaround, that's unbelievable. That'll be unprecedented in NBA history for wins. I just like the Wizards roster, like Charlie said, better. And why I like the roster better is because the Wizards pieces fit better. Yes, Atlanta has some talent, but they have a bunch of young players. Sandro, you tried to shit on the roster by naming a bunch of guys that aren't going to suit up. Who goes that deep in the into the year important games?
I was naming off their 7th to 11th guy.
That is not
those were 7th to 11th guy.
That is not their 7th to 11th guy. Let me name your
take it up with the ESPN.
These are the guys that are going to play.
Take it up with the ESPN.
Russ, Bradley, Rui, Denny, Bertans, Thomas Bryant, Cassius Winston, Robin Lopez, Mo Wagner, Troy Brown. I gave you 9 guys. Okay.
You can't, and one of those guys is a 2nd-round pick, and one of those guys is a Euro rookie.
Okay.
So don't talk about young players with Atlanta, but you're talking about not with the Wizards.
Yeah, I'm talking young. There's young players in Atlanta, and they tightened up that roster with adding those 3 veterans, and they're going to get better. And I agree with you. They're going to get more wins than the 20. But ultimately, when push comes to shove, it comes to star power. Bradley Beal, Russell Westbrook is better, in my opinion, than any star on Atlanta and any star on
I'm not arguing that. I'm not arguing that. I mean, so I will say this: if I'm taking a player, if I have a choice between Trae Young and Russell Westbrook, I'm taking Trae Young.
Okay, and that's where you and I differ because I'm not smoking whatever you're smoking. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm pumping the brakes on Atlanta. I'm not a big Trae Young fan. So
how come? Out of curiosity, how come?
Because he's the worst defender in the NBA.
I mean, does Westbrook play defense?
I'm
not arguing about Trae Young because I know he's a bad defender. But if you're gonna knock on Trae Young, though, it's the same knock on Westbrook.
Hey, this brings me to something else in the chat. I love it. Guess who's in the same division?
Oh, the 2 teams.
Atlanta and the
yeah.
Wizards. Okay. I can't wait to see Trae Young guard Russell Westbrook and vice.
Oh, I'm not defending Trae Young's defense. I'm not defending Trae Young's defense.
All right.
I'm just saying if you're gonna knock Trae Young for that, you got to knock Westbrook for that.
What Westbrook?
I don't think Westbrook's defense is that bad.
Yeah,
I do. So he gets confused. He's either it's an effort thing or he just doesn't care.
He's never been on the level of like they just go and take advantage of him like they did Harden or like a Steph Curry.
Well, that's also size, though.
But Harden just didn't give a fuck. But you never heard, oh man, Cats are just going to go at Russell and take advantage of him tonight.
But you hear Cats, oh yeah, oh, give me the ball, Trae. I cannot wait.
Like I said, I'm not defending Trae Young's defense.
I cannot wait till there's a switch in an Atlanta game where Russ is on offense and Trae Young switches on him. Oh, all day, mouse in the house. Okay.
All right. I'm not defending Trae Young's defense. I'm not arguing Trae Young's defense because it's worse than the NBA. But that's also why they brought in Dunn and Rondo.
Yeah, no, and it's good. I agree, but I think for me, again, when it gets down, and I have all those teams very close. I think those 3 teams are basically fighting for that one spot, that 8th seed, and I just prefer the Wizards with Russ injection because
so you're going for the star power model too. The same thing
no,
Carly said earlier.
I think there's the star power model, and I think there's the historical contents, because it's just that Wizards team wasn't that old. They got better. The Atlanta team got better. Then you're arguing they infused with the pieces they brought in. I think the Russ piece brought into the Wizards is a bigger piece that got inserted than what happened to Atlanta. I think both teams are going to improve, but I think Atlanta has much more way to go because of the historical reference that I alluded to. Could I see them slipping, being that 8? Yes, I said I think those 3 teams are fighting for the 8, but this is blasphemy nonsense that people think that they're going to be a fucking 7, 6, 5. Did you?
It's really not. It's really not. You named the 3 guys that they added: Rondo, Gallinari, right? And who was the third that we were talking about?
Bogdanovich
and Dunn and Capella. That's 5 guys that could start for the Wizards. Minus Beal and Brad and Russ already.
I will add, what's his name? John Collins got suspended for what? 30 games.
These guys, yeah. So Bruce, I get what you're saying about the historical turnaround, but this is basically a completely different roster.
It is
what they had last year.
And so like I said,
I don't really count that as a factor. Like if they were coming back with the same roster and it was just guys they were waiting on to develop and grow, fine, it wouldn't happen. But this is a completely different roster, and it's not like they brought in young, unproven guys. They brought in veterans that have been to the playoffs. Rondo's won championships.
They did bring again. I like the moves, and don't get me I'm not saying Atlanta's not going to improve. They're going to get better. They're going to win games. They're going to improve. But I think I keep hearing I can buy into them being a 8, a play-in team, maybe a 7. I was pushing it, but because of the historical turnaround, they would need to have I cannot get on board because when people talk about Atlanta, they're not they're not talking about, hey, they're a fringer. They're talking about being a top 4. 3?
Well, that's pushing it.
No, top 5, top 7 to me is pushing it. They have
top 7. I think is
over
a realistic
100%, over 100% more. It's 110% turnaround in wins to be even a top 7 seed in the East.
But we're talking about 2 different teams. I don't even count the historical thing because it's talking about 2 different teams.
When those historical turnarounds happened, people got injected. It's not just the same team they got better. Of course, there was trades, drafts, and stuff like that. I'm trying to say
you're talking about 5 guys that are key rotation, if not starters, and probably second option in Bogdanovich.
Okay, what is Gallinari starting? No. Is Rondo starting? No. Is Dunn starting? No. The only one starting.
What does that have to do with anything, though?
You keep arguing that it's
Dunn and Rondo are brought in for their experience. Those guys are rotation guys that are going to play defense to make up for Trae Young's lack of defense. You brought in Bogdanovich, who's going to be probably their second leading scorer. Otherwise, maybe Collins. I don't know. Trae Young is a year older, who averaged nearly 30 points a game last year. Top to bottom, they have a better roster than half the league, half the teams in the East.
I'll end the debate like this. Okay, I get. Because you see, I'm gonna name again the historical. I'm gonna name off those teams I named off again.
That's fine.
Are they better? Just
the historical context means nothing to me, though.
Is Atlanta better than the Bucks?
Obviously not. I'm not talking about the top teams in the East. I'm not talking about the top teams in the East. I could see Atlanta here. I'll tell you this. I'll throw another hot take out just for Bruce.
Oh, say it.
I can see Atlanta having a better record than Miami.
Oh, talk to him, Gus.
Okay, that's okay. You can feel that way. Again, I think they're going to be successful. I said I'm not arguing. I said they're going to battle for a playoff spot, and I'm more back down to the 8 in, maybe a 7, but I'm feeling more the 8 in, but 7 I can see that. But this notion of the 6, there's so much room they have to grow. It such a big jump. For a team that's nucleus is young. They haven't stand up. There's something about being there, going through the trial. Look at Denver, right? They kept missing the playoffs, getting talent, kept missing it, got to the first round. There's something about the NBA. It's about a process. You're telling me Atlanta's going to go? I'm not
saying they're going to win the championship, though. You're talking about Denver. Denver's a contender in the West.
No, I know.
I'm just talking about them getting a 6th seed.
Denver.
That's
you're not
it.
hearing what
I'm not talking
There's a-
about getting a championship or winning the East. I'm just saying
No.
they're gonna if everything
No,
clicks, and everything goes right, and maybe somebody gets hurt
Yeah.
on another team. Maybe they get a 5 seed.
Okay,
I'm
there's
talking
a
6,
but
7, 8. They're
there's
in
a
that.
lear-
They're in that area. We're
there's
not
a
that far
process
off,
of
but you're
learning
way
how to
lower
play,
on them than I am.
learning to play and learning how to win. And I'm just saying, you think Atlanta's going to go from the second to the worst Eastern Conference team all the way up to that means.
But that
not
doesn't. That's
only
a
do-
different team. It's not like there's not like this team last year has to go all the way up to the 6th seed.
Dano, what's the nucleus? You keep telling me it's about that.
I
young
just named you the nucleus. They have a
Those
10-person nucleus.
Those
Man,
guys
can
have
I
to
say
learn
something?
how to
Can I
win.
interject here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Adam.
Adam.
All right. So here's what I'm feeling about this. I feel Bruce may not be high on Trae Young. I think Trae Young has a chance to be a transcendent superstar. But what do transcendent superstars need? They need experience. So obviously,
Yes.
first 2 years, Trae Young he's been incredible on offense, very bad on defense, right?
I agree. But first, Adam, before you go on, let me say this. Put it in the context of we're not talking about Trae Young leading these guys to the Eastern Conference Championship.
No, it's
We're
all
talking about Trae Young leading these guys to a 7, 8,
right.
6 seed.
My point's all going to tie together. So with transcendent superstars, when they get real solid veteran experience around them, they tend to up their level of play and they up the level of play of others. So i.e., I hate to do this because they're going to be forever connected. When Luka got real solid vets around him and not, I mean, he had Dirk his first year, but that was like on his farewell tour. He propelled his team. Trae Young has that type of talent, and now that he has someone to learn under, Rajon Rondo, someone who can learn, how to play, how to make others better. I mean, he almost led the NBA in assists, but he can be even better. He can learn how to lead under Rajon Rondo. For as much as we bag on Rondo, Rondo has led teams to championships, right? He can learn how to play defense under Chris Dunn. Nate McMillan's an assistant coach there. That's another wealth of experience. Sure, Gallinari and Bogdanovic, wing scorers. Gallinari's going to play the 4, could play 3-4, maybe a small ball 5. That's another vet who can help Trae Young. I bring this all around to Trae Young. Trae Young has the ability to turn. Yeah, they won Bruce, you said 20 games last year. He has a chance with this team. He can propel them. I'm not going to say single-handedly, but he's that good to where they can be a 6 seed. Is it a little far-fetched? Maybe, but at the same time, his talent is so good and he makes other players around him better, and he's going to have that experience with, and get the experience and the help from others. He has a real solid NBA roster. I get all your historical numbers, Bruce, and that's, I feel you. Like, he's been historically bad on defense. They're not going to make this giant jump. There are a lot of big teams, a lot of teams in front of them. However, some of those teams are going down and Atlanta's going up. And because you talk about Indiana, I spoke about Indiana earlier. Sure, they have pieces. They have a first-year head coach, never been a head coach before. What are they going to run? Sabonis and Turner don't work well together. Victor Oladipo and Brogdon, we don't know if they're going to work well together because both need the ball in their hands. So, and they did nothing to get better. They made no moves in the offseason to get better. They drafted Cassius Stanley. They didn't. Indiana made no moves to get better. So while Bruce, in turn, is right, which, I hate saying because it just boosts his ego, Sano does have a point also, because I think a lot falls on Trae Young and how great he's going to make others. Hence,
but let me just say,
hold on real quick. Devin Booker, right?
Yep. Devin
Booker finally got a real coach last year. He got some solid vets. He had Ricky Rubio. Ricky Rubio's been in the playoffs. He's a point guard, learned how to play. He took his game to another. He was arguably the best player him and Dame, he was the best player. That's what I'm saying. When young guys get the vets, get the type of veterans around them, their games usually propel. And I think that's what I'm saying. Trae Young has the ability with his talent and getting all this experience and all this knowledge that yes, they can make the 6th seed.
And on top of that, I was gonna quickly add to what Adam was saying, Bruce, before you go. The thing with Trae Young is not only did they bring in the vets to like you said, kind of mentor him, give him some coaching basically on the court. Those guys were also brought in specifically to make up for his biggest weakness, which was defense. So it wasn't just like a veteran thing. It's like, okay, these guys are on the court. These guys are specifically brought in because they make up for what Trae Young lacks right now, and that's defense. So it was seen in the way that they built that roster.
And for me, it's not. I'm not even care. Like the Trae Young defense is not even a factor. It's just I don't. To me, it's just there's levels to this. There's steps, and teams don't just take giant ascensions. There's steps to that. So I think they're going to get better. But I just and this is probably where we differ maybe a little bit. Adam, is just yes, Atlanta is going to get better. And I agree. We all agree they're going to get better. I think they're going to be a better team. But then now we have to also hope. You're asking for multiple things. Hope other teams are going to get worse too. And that 6 and over, as I alluded to those teams, we have to think that those 6 teams that won 23 more games than Atlanta, not only does Atlanta have to get significantly better, all those teams have to get significantly worse. And then this is where you and I differ at. And you said, like, for instance, you're pointing out Indiana. Indiana's, you said, is a pillar of mediocrity. Well, great. They didn't change their roster, and mediocrity got them the 4th seed and 40-something wins. So what is there for me not to believe that they can't be mediocre again and still be a 4 and get 43-something plus wins? And so that's all I'm saying is I just think 6 and above is really a lot. And the 7th seed last year was the Nets with still 18 more wins than them. And so I think Atlanta's going to get better. But I also don't think Atlanta needs some teams to get way down and drop off kind of not a cliff, but some of them take some tremendous drops. And so that's where I think more of that 8 seed 7, possibly is more in the realm of reasoning than because we don't see teams every year unless it's like elite top 10 type player or the kind of talent I just alluded to that's come in to make that big of a change. And how they got better? Yes, they're going to get better. They're going to win. Do I think they could be? Yeah, I said they think there's nothing wrong with being a 7 or 8. That's a success for because if they're going to be a 7 or 8 seed, that means they literally are going to probably have won 35 or more, possibly games, 30 something plus games. That is a huge success. That's over a 50% increase in win total. So.
I mean, that same argument you guys were just making earlier for the Wizards, though. The Wizards only had 5 more wins than the Hawks last year.
Yeah, and what did I just say in my argument? I'm not as into Charlie. My argument was I said the battle for the 8 was going to be Wizards, Orlando, and Atlanta. I didn't have Wizards. I just said that's who I think the battle of the 8 is going to be. And I just like the Wizards more. That just because the Wizards makes the playoffs. I mean, the playoff team in the East at the 8, was 32, 33 wins. That's not saying much, right? So it's not the West.
All right, well, man, you guys got a glimpse, a PG glimpse of what a day in the life of our group chat looks like. Yeah, no, it was fun. We will probably add some more of those to our pods in the future, man. Just make it more like us, make it more, authentic. I was not to say we weren't authentic before, but it's just, open things up a little bit. We can be ourselves. Man, it was fun. And the NBA season is right around the corner, man. We got like 5 days, I believe. So it's exciting. It's exciting.
Real quick, I got one more question for Bruce, though. Did Atlanta finish 500, above 500?
So that's what is that? 30,
So it'd be
36 and 36.
30. Is that about? Yeah, 36.
36. Yeah, I mean that's probably what it's gonna take. It's gonna be right there to be that plan. So
yeah, okay. So they play 72 games, so 36 and 36 would be 500.
36 and
Okay.
36.
All right. Well, there you have it, you guys. BTST, NBA preview. We're excited. You know, we're watching preseason. Man, college basketball's been on. Man, we're just super excited that the NBA is back. Man, it's our love. Love the league. That's our
I
sign.
want to say one of the reasons why we're excited NBA's back is because we can't watch any more fucking Husky basketball. Jesus.
Oh,
Holy
man.
smokes.
That's
I'm
a
not gonna
whole
go
other. That's
there.
a whole other argument.
Yeah, that's
I
a
just
whole
wanted
other.
to throw
That's a
that
whole
in there.
other pod.
That's a
That's
whole other debate.
pod. We'll
There's
get
not
the.
a debate because they suck.
We'll get.
There's not much to debate.
Dub.
Right. Man, super excited, you guys. BTST for Charlie, Bruce, Sano, Adam. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Subscribe to our IG. Man, we appreciate the love and support, everybody. BTST signing off. Appreciate you guys. Stay safe. Wear a mask.